covering the community, events, and people of Georgia, Carolina. This is the Means Report. Here is Brad Means.
Hello everybody and welcome back to the Means Report. Thanks a lot for joining us on this Sunday. Hope your summer is off to a great start and that you and your family are having a wonderful time here in the CSRA. We have a busy agenda on this edition of the Means Report. We're going to lead off with it has to be the hottest topic in this city these days. It is trash pickup. There's been a massive change as of June 3rd. Some of you are okay with it. A lot of you, based on the reaction that we've seen around here, are not. But we're going to make you aware of why this change was put into place, how the new system works, and how, in fact, you can play a vital role in helping it be a smooth transition. We have some experts on hand to talk about that, leading off with the mayor of Augusta. He's going to be here to talk about it. The man who's in charge of environmental services for Richmond County, he's going to be here to talk about it. So please stay tuned for all your questions about trash being answered over the next few minutes. First, though, a rough start. Even though we knew June 3rd was coming, George Ascala covers that.
Wally Baskovich was looking for the 411 on why his garbage wasn't picked up on Wednesday.
People are busy, I understand that, but it's still Friday and we still have 8 cans full. And they're still trying to work it out.
Full cans and frustration over a large section of the hill in Augusta where pickup was 2 days behind. A double whammy for Nancy Bowers. She's got a business and a house in the area.
And it's not been picked up, and you just caught me checking in the rain to see if it'd been picked up again, and it's not. This is Friday.
And trash cans not picked up pile up.
We just keep pushing it down further.
And many say their complaints about pickup are falling on deaf ears.
I did call. I was on hold, waiting to speak to someone. I hung up, tried to call again to leave a message, and didn't get through that time.
The only thing that was missed for you is recycling?
Calls are getting to the 311 center, but there's lots of them. This week, the average is 1,700 a day.
Right now, we're just trying to manage the call volume, and we are taking immediate action just to get some additional temporary employees in here that can just help with the call volumes, because I know that they just want their questions answered, and someone, they want to hear a voice on the other end.
Landfill officials say just because they were behind schedule here, it would not ripple to other parts of town. But if problems persist, the trucks will be out again on Saturday.
All right, so there we go. That was in the aftermath of that June 3rd changeover. And let's talk more about where the situation stands now and where it's headed with, as promised, the mayor of Augusta, Deke Copenhaver. Mayor, thank you as always for being here.
Brad, always a pleasure to be here.
And we appreciate you getting Mark Johnson, Environmental Services Director, to come with you. Mark, good to see you again.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Let me just start off with you, Mayor, and then we'll get to Mark to kind of break down the X's and O's for us. Did this change, was it rougher than you thought it would be, or did you think with any change there's going to be some difficulties?
With any change, there's going to be some difficulties. It was a little bit rougher than I think any of us anticipated, but there's good explanations for those, which is why I wanted to get Mark on today. So I think a lot of what we've been focused on doing leading up to the transition and afterwards is public outreach and public education. So I thought, who better to bring on the show today than Mark? He does a great job at what he does.
Mark, why weren't those trucks there on the regular pickup days? The bulk of the complaints came from people who just said, hey, I got it, that this is my new pickup day, but the truck didn't even come.
We did 2 or 3 very monumental things all at one time. We changed 60,000 people's day of service. Second, we switched all the companies around in the city. And third, you have new drivers learning new routes. You put all of those pieces together, and it's a monumental undertaking that we're trying to deal with. Monday and Tuesday went very well. By the time we got to Wednesday, we had one part of town in the Somerville area where we got behind, and it dominoed from there. We've cleaned everything up as of Saturday, and we started fresh today. We've brought in additional resources. There's some additional trucks, additional management, and additional manpower. And this week is looking even better than last, dramatically better than last. As of Monday at 5 o'clock, if you had made a complaint by 5, we only had 21 carry over by 8 o'clock that night.
All right, that's not bad at all.
That's not bad at all. Same day service.
So it's getting better day by day, hour by hour, really. Mayor, why did we change the whole system? It wasn't broken, it appeared. Why did we do this?
Well, you know, Brad, I would argue that it wasn't efficient and effective. You had a lot of people that didn't really need 2-day-a-week service. Also, we rebid out the contract, and if I'm correct, Mark, if we had kept it at 2-day-a-week service, people's bills would have doubled. So there was a need to do this. Hopefully, this is getting people to recycle more as well. That's an option that not everybody used, but that significantly cuts down on what you produce. It's better for the environment. You know, other cities have really had a heightened focus on that. I believe this will help here, but admittedly, the first week, you know, is when you have a massive undertaking like that, you know, you're going to have some unforeseen issues.
Mark, it really does boil down to people's personal habits that may need to be adjusted, like getting into recycling more. How difficult or how easy is it to recycle? I mean, is it hand picking through your entire garbage at your house and separating it, or are there a couple of categories where just we know this goes in recycling, this does not?
What we did is we took a very simplistic approach, and we said, let's go to single stream. Put all of your recyclable material together in one can, make it as convenient for the consumer as possible. That way we can drive up, if it's easy, people are willing to do it. So we can drive up their willingness to participate.
And so talk to the uneducated person out there, like a lot of people I know who want to know how to start recycling. As you're going through your daily garbage stream in your house, what do you recycle, what do you not?
What we can recycle is pretty much any consumer packaging. If you buy it in a store, we can take it unless it's touched food.
Okay.
If it's the styrofoam in the meat container, we don't want that. The other thing we don't really want is the packaging from your dry cleaning, that plastic.
Right.
It messes up our equipment. But as far as junk mail, phone books, magazines, tin cans, aluminum, steel, cardboard, all of that is recyclable. Buy a pair of shoes, the stuff, the paper inside, the cardboard box, it's all recyclable. Buy that super plastic that nobody likes, cut it apart, recycle it. So milk jugs, recycle it. Tide bottles, recycle that. So, but put it all in one, make it convenient.
I would say that a lot of people's recyclables probably exceed their regular garbage.
They could if they recycled. And one thing we did to try to incentivize people to recycle is we're bringing in a new program called Recycling Perks. So with these new trucks that are here, they're now scanning the carts, or they will be in very near future. They're scanning the carts, and it's like a frequent flyer program for recycling. The more you recycle, the more we give back.
Okay, gotcha. And Mayor, were you going to say something about recycling?
Oh, no, I was just going to say, real world example, you know, this week my recycle bin has more in it than my regular trash bin. And you just find yourself getting in habits, and I've been recycling for a very long time, but every day when I go out to get the mail, my stop on the way back into the house is at the recycle bin, and I just take all the junk mail and put it right in before even going in the house.
Yeah, I was just going to say, junk mail alone, you could fill it up. Talk more about that. You give back, how people can really be encouraged to take part.
One of the things we did is we incorporated Recycling Perks. It's a frequent flyer program for recycling.
Okay.
The more times you put your card out, the truck scans it, you get points. You get to cash those points in for buy one, get one, 20% off, and other from local establishments. So it does two things. One, we're incentivizing the customer to recycle, but we're also incentivizing that customer to go patronize local businesses. It's a real economic development tool as well.
How do we find out when our recycling day is, or do you just pull that blue can out there and leave it and wait?
All of your services are on the same day. If your trash day is Wednesday, your recycling day is Wednesday as well.
Oh, that's extremely helpful. Okay. So looking forward, do you see everything just kind of calming down and getting back to normal, or do you think you'll continue to have to put out fires for at least the next few weeks or months?
I think our transition will continue over the course of time, not like the first week. They're going to be, service will be there. We're going to finalize the Recycling Perks program and get that put to bed. We're making sure that the people who need assisted collections are in our system and being picked up at their home rather than at the curb. It's more going to be at the detail level than at the service level.
Mayor, let me hit a couple of big topics before you all get out of here. I wanted to talk very quickly about, beginning with Riverwalk. You and other city leaders took a tour on Monday of Riverwalk to check out everything from landscaping to the condition of the brick and mortar down there. What are your thoughts on the future of Riverwalk, making it cleaner and more importantly, safer?
I think the will of the body is there to help clean it up, to increase the lighting, which should help with crime issues. I know that the Sheriff's Department is on board looking at more patrols and all, but I'll tell you, Brad, there are things that we can do and should do and will do. But to my mind, we need more development on our riverfront, generating pedestrian activity.
Yeah.
We've got 37 acres, because I measured, of undeveloped riverfront property that's really not putting revenues into the city, sales tax revenues, and generally crime does not go to well-lighted, well-trafficked areas. But when you consider we've got this huge dead zone on our riverfront, over time, that's what's going to help us the most of all.
Talk about the other big thing that happened at the commission on Monday this past week, pets in hot cars. What do pet owners need to know about what could happen if they leave their animal in a hot car sealed up?
Well, there would be fines, there would be penalties. Obviously, the animal control can break out a window to get in, and this will have to get final approval by the full commission next Tuesday. But and it also applies to, there's a separate ordinance for children being left in hot cars. And that's, to my mind, it's a public safety issue. And whether it's pets or children, people should know, and there will be signs posted in different public areas, but you should know not to leave pets or children in hot cars in 100-degree weather unattended.
Yeah, not even for a minute.
No, no.
What about the situation with the patch? We talked about this past week, partnership, as we've talked about before, between the patch and First Tee. What are your thoughts on that, and where does that stand?
Those conversations are ongoing, and I think that that's definitely a good possibility. I know that there are a couple of other options that we're starting to take a look at now that have been discussed that are too much in the infancy to really put them out there on the table yet. But I think ultimately it's been a sustained conversation, like with so many things we do, stops and starts, but I think ultimately we will do the best thing for the patch and for the public as a whole. But the partnership with the First Tee is something that definitely I can see, is garnering some support from within the commission.
Paul Simon with the First Tee said that golf course needed about a $2 million renovation. Is that going to happen ever?
Well, and that's the sticking point. I think, or that will be a sticking point, because I understand you want to invest in it and get it up to speed, but it's always a question of resources. So I think the topic of how much the city would be willing to invest in the course and moving forward is going to be one that I'll be interested to see play itself out.
Mark, one more quick question for you, and that has to do with a few thousand people in the southern part of Richmond County who use dumpsters or don't really need the county services when it comes to trash pickup. There was talk about letting them off the hook for this. Do you know where that stands at this point?
That stands right now where if you're more than 200 feet from the right-of-way, you have the option of our service or not. If you're a farmer, a forestry, or conservation entity, you have the option of our service or not. And so we've made modifications to account for those folks. If you're running an agricultural business as a business, you have options.
Okay, good deal. Thank you all both for being with me. It's a busy time, even though it's summer break officially. It's a busy time for both of y'all, and I appreciate you being here.
Well, thanks for always giving us this opportunity. It's all about educational outreach, and this is part of that, and you provide that opportunity.
Well, thank you. Happy to do that. And yes, now you're educated. Now you know. Be patient with these gentlemen and be patient with those awesome people at the municipal building who answer those 311 calls. They're great, ladies and gentlemen, working so hard down there. But when we come back on the Means Report, we're going to talk about foster care, how you can become a foster parent if you so choose. Also, great economic advice from Jeff Fehrman as this busy edition of the Means Report rolls on.